Hi and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. This time I'm going to be looking at filters and the excitement's moonrise over an Italian island. This one we're really going to have a look at filters that you can do and how to blend and enhance this stuff for an image. Now a filter will act on a particular layer, so whatever your layer you're working on, you make sure that you duplicate so you can get back to the original. So here I've duplicated the first layer and I'm going to apply a filter. There are a multitude of different filters. Now some of them are very simple ones like the blur. 99 times out of 100 or 9 out of 10 times I'll go to the Gaussian blur or Gaussian blur because that gives me an even mathematical blend on that sort of stuff, and that's what the Gaussian is about. And I'll then zoom in, zoom out to find an appropriate part of the image to give me an idea of what the blur will look like and adjust it. So soft blurs would be, a very subtle one would be around 0.7 or about 1.4, but you can actually go a whole lot further, and I'll go OK on this one, and you can see how things within this image from clarity to slightly blurred. And this is the starting effect. So here I can then overlay that over the original or find an appropriate blending mode to get that softening effect, or I can just leave it as normal depending on what I want to achieve. So that's one option. The next option, if we duplicate the background layer again, okay, so this is blurred, and I'm just noting what the layers are, changing the layer names so I know what I've done to them. So here, this one, we're going to go for some of the more interesting filters. So here we have the various distortion filters, which will apply weirdness to it to distort the shape. So we can apply the distortion amount, and you can see how it affects the image. So bulbing out, pulling in, that kind of thing for the pinch. We've also got displace, ripple, shear. So displace, horizontal displacement, oh, it goes for new image, we won't bother with that one then. The ripple, we get a ripple amount, so you can see here it's like rippling through glass, and the ripple effect's quite good for that sort of idea of faking glass. And twirl, most of these are kind of nice, so you can get it to spin dramatically, and if we zoom out, you can see it's like going down a plug hole almost. Or we can get it to twist the other way depending on what you want it to happen. And you can get some very subtle, edgy effects on that one. And there's noise, which noise is useful for adding stuff over the top of an image. So if we want to bespeckle this image, and it doesn't give us a dialog box, so it's just applied something. The triple dots on the end mean it pops up a dialog box where you can edit additional features. So if I want to add noise, we can see noise amount here. So, and thankfully it's come over. And so you can see it patching over the top. Now, if we want to add the noise uniformly, which is an even distribution over the surface, we can do so, or we can go for a Gaussian one, which is mathematically balanced. I can't remember off the top of my head the difference between the two, but you can actually see the effect. If you want, you can also go monochromatic, which is basically black and white dots. So if I do that over the top and go OK, it then applies it. And if I then switch this to a lighten layer, you can see it's almost like an older style photo with those little speckly dots on it. Showing a lower quality of film. So again, back to the start, duplicating the layer, OK, and looking at these other options. So most of these, color halftone, the pixelate stuff, mosaic, create a certain style of effect. Let's see it here. So the mosaic is almost like a crude pixelization, and we're going into Minecraft territory here. And that sort of stuff. So you can create, badly formatted stuff. Or conversely, There's a number of others, and with all these filters, I would suggest just play with them, see what they do. The filter gallery, on the other hand, which is the second group of things, gives you a lot of artistic style. So I'm going to use Control minus to zoom out so I can see the whole picture. And what Photoshop did between this version and I don't know half a dozen previously or something is they've moved all these artistic and brushstroke filters and stuff into the filter gallery, so we can go through them and it'll apply the effect, and then we can adjust the details. And there's a lot of different options you can do here. If I just open up all the windows, you can see there's a fair bit. So glass. So I talked about using the ripple filter for glass. This is a specialist one under the distort menu folder. The distort section, to really add that glass effect or ocean ripple. So here it creates those sort of surface effects. And these are really good for coming up with distinct artistic styles that you can then apply in other forms and media. And again, it's just a matter of experimentation with these things. And then finally, there is everybody's favorite, the Liquify tool. So Liquify allows you to grab things. So if I wanted to make that object smaller, I could do so that it's almost a pinprick. And you can see Photoshop does all the hard work of working out everything around it. If I wanted to, so that's the pucker, we can go to bloat. So here I can make it enlarge the brush a little more, and again. There's a point where it becomes silly and you can see the distortions. There's lots of Photoshop fails online where people have applied these tools to themselves. And if you look for things such as ripples and distortions, especially in straight lines, you'll notice it. So here we have the 12 tool. Is it 12? Yeah, 12. So I can grab things and just straighten out that mountain a little bit. I should be able to. And there's one of the options down here will allow you to flip it around so that it'll go in the other direction. Then you've got the pucker left tool, and you can, again with the instructions, pucker right. So here I can twist and turn and push things as I need. Two of the options that are kind of nice are the freeze mask tool and the thaw mask tool. This allows you to freeze a particular area, such as, say, I don't know, this moon. I'll just colour that in. So that when I start twirling clouds, it doesn't affect the moon. Brilliant. And then, of course, you can get rid of this as needed. Now, to adjust the brush size, I'm using the square brackets on the keyboard instead of going back in here, back and forth to the brush size control options. It just speeds up your process, which is a really good thing to have on your side. And then, of course, you can make it face aware. There's no face detect in this image. And then the hand tool, which I think will allow you to grab and move things around. If I zoom out, which is zoom in, Control plus, I can use the space bar to grab and slide this image. So as long as I hold down the space bar, I'm using that hand tool to hold on. Even if I go up to here, space bar, so it allows me to switch between grabbing, resizing the image very quickly on the keyboard and getting this done. That about covers, and sorry for it being so long, a quick précis or brush over of the various filters. And if you look through this list, there's a lot more going on that I've talked about. So have some fun, explore it, come up with an image that uses 2 or 3 filters to enhance it. So again, using image masks, show certain bits through on certain areas to mask some areas out so that the effect that you want occurs in a certain area. Thank you.